Welcome back to another Professional Picks college basketball video. We hit our last one on Auburn minus 11.5 just a couple nights ago. Ended up winning that game by 40. I even mentioned in the video to take an alt spread minus 20. But moving on, today we have the top 5 Big East matchup, Marquette at UConn. This game is going to be on Saturday at 2 p.m. Central. Definitely won't want to miss it. Maybe one of the better games of the entire season. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Let us know what you're taking in the comments or if there's any other picks you guys want to see. But let's get right into the matchup. Marquette enters this game at 19-5, while UConn is now 23-2. This is about what I expected spread-wise. Might seem a little large, but UConn is a better team, and they're at home, where they are also 13-0 on the season. So extremely tough to play over there. But both of these teams are playing great basketball at the moment. Marquette's won their last 8, and UConn has now won their last 13. Marquette has lost a couple big games on the road this year, where really every college basketball team has been less effective. That's just the nature of it. But they have at least shown that they can lose by this amount on the season, although it really hasn't been often. I think it's only twice. At the same time, they haven't played a team technically as good as UConn on the year. And this part is a little bit more narrative-based, but Marquette was the 1 seed in the Big East last year. Kind of surprised, but that definitely is carried over to this season. They have great guard play. Mentioned there's their strength, especially Tyler Kolek, or Cam Jones as well, for that matter. But this Marquette team knocked out UConn from the conference tournament last year, kind of knocking them down to that 4 seed overall in March. We all know how it played out, but good teams that don't lose often, they remember those few games that they do lose. And considering they've only lost 2 this year, that is their 3rd most recent loss, coming in last March. So, I mean, UConn's going to be wanting to look for some revenge. I just think that's something you don't want to forget about entering this game. Ken Palm says UConn is about 7 points better than Marquette, which really makes me want to lean with the 7.5 here at home. I think, UConn's maybe about 6 or 7 points better on a neutral site. I'm really liking this line. It is a larger spread, though, and so, I mean, that has to worry you at any point, especially, I mean, teams are playing just to win the game, and they are going up against another top 5 team. But in my mind, Marquette isn't a top 5 team. They're playing some of their better basketball in the season, but we saw them lose to Michigan State in March Madness last year and also kind of get off to a rough start this past season. So they are playing good basketball, but I'm not fully sold on Marquette, and especially in this matchup. It's really unreal how good the UConn offense is. They're bottom 3rd in pace, so burn a lot of clock on the offensive end, looking for good shots, but usually when you're slower in pace, like a Virginia or something like that, you tend to have lower scoring games. But they're bottom 3rd in pace, and they still score the 5th most points per game in the country. So that's just absolutely demoralizing. Insanely high field goal percentage. So they're just burning a lot of clock, and then after you play all that defense, you still get a bucket scored on you. So, I mean, just playing UConn's extremely tough. Danny Hurley gets these guys ready, and they play really sound basketball. I mean, you could say the same for Marquette, but there's just going to be a lot of disadvantages for them in this game. UConn averages 4 more rebounds per game than Marquette, and they do have the size advantage as well, and that's kind of why I'll never fully be sold on Marquette. Oso Ighodaro, outstanding center, a little bit undersized size-wise, but he's very long, protects the rim well, scores at a high rate down in the paint. And that's kind of like their MO. I mean, David Joplin, stretch 4, so that's kind of what they're going for. But in a matchup like this against UConn, you got like 7'2" Klingon, I believe. He's just a massive human being. Evan Maya, the Bayesian performance statistics, he's statistically one of the best defenders in all of college basketball, especially guarding the paint. Well, it doesn't really hurt Marquette too much here, who likes to shoot it from the perimeter. They're just going to get destroyed on the boards here. I mean, Karaban is a little bit better in the paint than Joplin at least, and then they could also bring in Samson Johnson off the bench. So they have more depth in the post, and that's something I always look at in college basketball when teams just aren't, for the most part, just nailing threes all game. I mean, you can see it here with the high level of play, but UConn really does have the upper hand in so many categories. Mentioned it, but they shoot the ball better statistically, both 2-point field goals and 3-point field goals. Assists and turnovers, they average less turnovers per game. The only real category that you give the upper hand to Marquette here is in steals. And well, I got burned on that the other night to Cincinnati, and they turned it over like 25 times. Tristan Newton and Cam Spencer, they're going to take care of the ball in this game. I mean, those are two experienced players. While Cam Spencer was on Rutgers last year, he's played in a tough Big Ten conference, and then Newton was on that championship-winning team. I mean, they're just not going to fall under the pressure to Marquette in this game. I just don't see that. But we have arguably the best 2-point guards in the country playing in this game. You could almost cancel them out, but they're both definitely going to impact the game. But in my mind, Newton's supporting cast is just so much stronger. We mentioned they have more size in the paint, a little bit more depth. And then even in the backcourt, I mean, you're going to have, I'm blanking on the name, not Solomon Ball, but Stephon Castle. As a true wing, where this Marquette team, really a lot of undersized guards. I mean, UConn's going to handle the glass, probably get a lot of foul calls, win the paint play, and I'm going to go with that every time, especially when you're at home. I mean, the way I see them losing this game is if Marquette's hitting a lot of threes, which is definitely a possibility, but I mean, UConn plays sound basketball, not going to give them wide open looks, or they're going to make adjustments. I just think in this position, given the narrative that Marquette is UConn's third last loss, I like UConn minus 7.5 way too much in this game. So that's what we're going with. That's it for this video, though. Let me know what you guys are taking in the comments, whether you're tailing or fading, but we're going to have some more picks coming out soon. Good luck to everybody.